Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I still remember the way the cafe lights flickered off the window pane that evening. The glass was cold. The air smelled faintly of cinnamon, and for a moment I thought everything between us might settle back into something normal. I reached for her hand across the small wooden table. She didn't look up. Her fingers tensed, then pulled away, quick but deliberate. "Don't," she whispered. "Don't let them think we're a couple." Those words didn't come out sharp. They came out tired, like they had been waiting on her tongue for weeks. I sat back in my chair, pretending to study the steam rising from my coffee. But inside I could feel something sink, not explode, not shatter, just sink. The kind of quiet fall that doesn't make noise until it hits the bottom. Her name was Claire. We'd been together for almost 3 years, long enough to know each other's favorite songs, coffee orders, and the rhythm of our silences. She was never cruel, just distant, as if she lived 2 inches beyond my reach even when she smiled. That evening she talked about work, about her boss, about the new project she was leading. I nodded in the right places, but the space between us had turned into something heavy. I could feel people glancing our way, the way strangers do when they sense something fragile cracking in real time. When the waiter came to ask if we wanted dessert, she said no before I could answer. I caught her reflection in the glass, calm, polished, and utterly disconnected from the woman who used to trace circles on my palm during long drives. On the walk back to her apartment, we didn't speak. Our shadows moved side by side, stretching thin under the streetlights. At her door, she turned and gave me a smile that looked like courtesy. "Thanks for dinner," she said. I wanted to ask what I'd done wrong. I wanted to ask when the warmth had vanished. But all that came out was, "Sure, get some rest." She nodded and stepped inside without a hug, without a look back. The sound of the door latch closing felt final, like punctuation at the end of something unfinished. The next morning, I sat in my car outside my office, hands on the steering wheel, thinking about that one line, "Don't let them think we're a couple." Why did it hurt so much? Maybe because it wasn't just about the cafe. It was about everything. The texts that went unanswered for hours. The sudden excuses, the laughter that no longer reached her eyes. At lunch, my coworker Mark joked that I looked like someone who'd watched the last episode of his favorite show. I laughed it off, but he wasn't wrong. My relationship had turned into reruns, same lines, less feeling. That weekend, Claire suggested we take a break. She said it softly, as if she was asking me to pick a movie. "A break?" I repeated. "From what exactly?" "From the pressure," she said. "From expectations." There was a tremor in her voice, guilt maybe, or fear. I didn't press. I just nodded, though every cell in my body screamed that I was losing her by pretending not to. For the next few weeks, we barely spoke. I went to work, came home, scrolled through photos of us and the trip to Chicago. Her laugh caught mid-smile, and wondered how something so solid could dissolve so quietly. Then one night, I saw her at a friend's party. She was standing in a corner talking to some guy I didn't know, her hand resting lightly on his arm. She laughed, not forced, not polite. Real laughter, the kind I hadn't heard in months. She noticed me eventually. Our eyes met across the room. For a second, I thought she'd walk over. Instead, she gave a small, hesitant nod, the kind you give an old acquaintance you don't plan to talk to again. I left early, told everyone I had work in the morning. But as I drove home, her words from the cafe replayed in my head like a cruel melody. "Don't let them think we're a couple." That was when it hit me. She hadn't been protecting her image. She'd been preparing her exit. A week later, she called. Her voice was calm, too calm, the kind of calm that means everything has already been decided. "Hey, can we meet?" she asked. "There's something I need to say in person." I said sure, though I already knew what was coming. There's a point when your heart stops hoping and starts bracing. We met at the same cafe, same corner table. The waiter recognized us, smiled, and asked if we wanted our usual. Claire hesitated before shaking her head. "Just water," she said. That told me everything. She looked tired but lighter, like someone who'd finally dropped a heavy suitcase. I tried to smile, but it came out brittle. "I don't think we should keep doing this," she said. "I don't feel the same way anymore." There it was. The sentence people rehearse in their minds for days before saying it out loud. I nodded slowly, waiting for my voice to work. "When did you stop?" I asked. She looked down. "I don't know. It wasn't one moment. It was small things, arguments, silences, expectations. I started feeling like I couldn't breathe. Funny, I thought. That's exactly how I'd been feeling too. Except my suffocation came from holding on, not letting go." She reached for her purse. "You deserve someone who's all in," she said, the universal breakup phrase that tries to sound like kindness. I almost laughed. "And you deserve someone who doesn't make you feel trapped," I said quietly. For a moment, we just sat there, two people who had loved each other once, now talking like polite strangers about logistics and closure. When she finally stood to leave, she gave a faint, polite smile. "Take care of yourself, okay?" "I will," I said. "You too." Then she walked out, and I didn't follow this time. The days that followed were quieter than I expected. No dramatic tears, no calls at midnight, no regretful messages, just silence. Thick and strange at first, then oddly peaceful. I deleted her number not out of anger, but to stop myself from checking if she was online. I boxed up the pictures, the small gifts, the ticket stubs. It felt like cleaning up after a storm. Every so often I'd think about that night at the cafe, the one where she pulled her hand away. I used to replay it like a wound, trying to understand what I could have done differently. Now I see it differently. It wasn't rejection. It was revelation. She was already gone, just waiting for me to notice. I started spending more time alone. Morning runs, long drives, quiet dinners by myself. It's strange how loneliness, when accepted, turns into something like clarity. One evening I stopped by that same cafe again. The same table was empty. I sat there, ordered coffee, and for the first time I didn't expect her to walk in. I didn't rehearse what I'd say if she did. I just sat there. A couple nearby laughed softly over their shared dessert, their hands brushing across the table. I smiled, not out of envy, but out of recognition. Once that was me. And maybe someday it could be again, just not with her. People talk about heartbreak like it's a single moment. The breakup, the argument, the slammed door. But that's not how it really ends. It ends slowly, in pauses and polite smiles, in the quiet acceptance that love isn't enough when respect starts to fade. Claire didn't break my heart. She just reminded me how fragile connection is when one person starts walking away long before they say it out loud. Months later, I heard she moved to another city. New job, new apartment, new life. I didn't feel bitterness, just a soft ache that used to be sharp. If I'm honest, I still think about her sometimes. Not the way she left, but the way she once looked at me before everything started slipping. I guess some memories don't demand closure. They just fade into background noise, like music from another room. And yet every now and then, when I pass a cafe window and see two people sitting across from each other, hands touching, eyes warm, I catch myself smiling, because I remember what it felt like to reach out, and what it taught me when she pulled away.